To say you gotta know somebody, or know somebody to get somewhere these days. To say you know that's alright, yeah that's alright, cause you know that's alright with me. Yeah, you know that's alright, yeah that's alright, cause you know that's
alright. They said, you can't modify the loan because the loan's not in your name. I said, but, well, I can have an authorization to sign the document that modifies their loan as long as I have power of attorney. And they go, no, you're not the owner. I go, yes, I am the owner. Well, you're not on the loan. I said, she said, you don't own the mortgage. No, you own the mortgage.
You're paying it.
I'm the one that's been paying. You don't, so it's everything. I have a ton of stories of deals, because I've done a lot of stuff, and I've never had, it's never been a situation where you can't figure something out. Right?
But it's not the end of the world the next day when they call the loan.
No, they say the loan's due on, is due because you sold the property. The loan's due. Well, I mean, then you go down and get a new loan.
Yeah. Think about that for a second, because people really have a hard time wrapping their head around.
They do.
What do you think's going to happen? You think your phone's going to ring and they're going to say, "Give me $120,000"?
Tomorrow.
You don't have $120,000.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? They're going to file through the foreclosure process, which is going to take what?
6 to 9 months.
Okay. Probably more like a year. Right? You have plenty of time to go get some other kind of institutional lending or some other private lender, and if the deal you bought was a strong enough deal, you're not going to have any problem doing that.
And this is the importance of the disclosure too, because we actually say, look, the bank has the right to call the loan due. If they do that, we can't guarantee, it could have a negative effect on your credit. But all the while they accept our payments as a positive.
But in most cases, they're not paying the mortgage prior to us taking it over.
Yeah,
so the worst thing that's going to happen is we might end up not paying it as well if we get into a dispute with the bank. But in most cases, if the deal's strong enough and we don't want to let it go, we're going to pay it. We're going to bring in a private lender to replace the money.
I've never had it happen.
Never. Just all right. Thank you.
It's a classroom question. Really.
That first and second mortgage, how they manipulate it, gets a little confused. I'm starting to understand.
Well, that was something else. That was just a private lender's preference, and that had to do. Now it could very well be that we went out and got a loan, and the private investor said, I won't lend on the second. I'd rather pay off the first. It just so happened we got into the subject to discussion because that was the case in this.
Thank you.
Is there Dimitri, you had a question?
My question is, what tool you're using? Obviously, you're doing some marketing. You're either doing Craigslist, you're either knocking door to door, you're using a newspaper. I mean, you might not want to reveal your secrets. I don't know.
No,
I'm just curious.
There's a million places to find deals. All the ones you said are accurate. No, I haven't used the newspaper in a long time. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Are you like, we buy, what's that one guy I saw for a while, we buy ugly houses?
We buy houses. We buy ugly houses is Home Investors. That's a franchise.
Yeah.
There was like 14 of them in this area. I think we're down to 4.
Yeah.
Almost all of them went out of business.
But what do you find is your best tool? Sending a postcard maybe out, like a mortgage relief, Craigslist? What do you find? And then you just filter out the calls and see what can work, what will work for you. And basically once you go in there, you can see if there's any value. If you can make it work, you make the deal work, obviously. I mean, I see the whole picture.
It depends on what you're looking for. It depends on, like, I'll tell you, a lot of what I like right now in this marketplace is free and clear. So I'll mail to free and clear.
Okay.
If I mail a message to free and clear houses, what does that person have? They have a heck of a lot of flexibility. Okay. Somebody that says short sale contingent upon bank approval, what do they have? They have nothing.
Right.
They have the ability to sign a paper that says maybe 9 months from now, maybe the bank will agree to saying maybe.
Yeah. Correct.
And at the end of the day, I mean, I know guys that do short sales. I know a guy that did about $400 grand last year in short sales, and he has an assembly line. He has a pipeline of it where he has it all systematized. And the idea is, if you want a system, if you can pump volume, and only 1 out of 30 is a good deal, or 1 out of 12.
Correct. Yeah. Not all of them are good.
But I mean, I look for people with flexibility. So I look for people that have good mortgages that I can take over the payments, or I look for free and clear property. So where do you find those? You have to, you have to think about, okay, there's 3 things you're talking about: your market, your market, who you're going after, your marketing, what's the message that you're sending them, and what media do you send it to them in? If you're doing direct mail, or you're doing postcards, you're doing what I call, in the marketing industry called shotgun advertising, where you just put a billboard up, or you put a sign on your car, or you put bandit signs out, and that's like, you don't know who you're going to get. You just put it out there, and anybody that answers, then you sift through them. Yeah. Or you can sift through them and send them something that lands in their mailbox. You've already sifted through them, and the only time you get something that's off the you know, off the trodden path there is if they hand it to a friend, and now his friend's calling you at a house in North Carolina.
Of course.
Like, how did you get my postcard?
Yeah.
Oh, my friend up in Pennsylvania called me about it. So
What do you see hard cash lenders getting nowadays? You know, hard cash
money
lenders,
lenders?
yeah, hard money, yeah.
What are they getting?
Yeah, and interest.
And interest? It's all across the board. I've seen guys as high as 5 points and 15%, but
Depends on the lender, depends on you, depends on the deal.
Deal.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the highest I've ever heard.
Oh, there's higher than
That's
that.
higher. That sounds like
Brookhaven's pretty high, some of their numbers.
Brookview.
Brookview, yeah.
Yeah, AJ asked me to open up a franchise for him in this area.
Yeah, research and all that through the roof.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, a lot of hard money lenders that are good. Those are good resources to call for deals. A lot of those guys had to take a bunch of houses back. They're motivated sellers right now. A lot of
Got
hard
big
money.
buyers list
Yeah.
too, some of them are people.
And the
looking
reason
to
they
buy.
charge so much is because they're taking the risk. Look at all the guys, they got all those houses back. They're like, thank God I charged such exorbitant interest rates. Because look what I got now. You got a bunch of guys. So I mean, marketing, it depends on what you're going after. I mean, you know, obviously if you want multi-unit apartment buildings, I'm gonna mail to multi-unit apartment buildings.
I mean, I understand the whole thing. Like I said, I had a very successful company, and I did lots of marketing, not just here, the whole country I did. So I understand the whole concept. I'm just trying to see, you know.
Yeah. Is there any one? There's no one
magic,
best
so.
answer to that.
Yeah, it's just what I used to do is I used to like market one like Texas, Dallas. I used to just like tons of postcards, and it's all numbers. You know, I knew if I sent out 50,000, it's the rule of 1%. There were 0.5% in there. You knew I was going to get it, and then my guys on the phone will close the deals.
Now you got social media where it's free.
Yeah.
It's effective. It's efficient, but
Like
might not very well be
Facebooks or
effective.
Tweeters
So
or
it costs you nothing, or
yeah.
it costs you very little, and you reach tens and tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
But how many of those do you get? One. Where you send, you know, if I send out 1,000 postcards, I'm making 40 phone calls.
Right, and then
Because
maybe you
of
get
who
2
I'm
deals.
sending it to and what the heck the postcard says.
Yeah.
We paid a copywriter $12 grand to write a postcard, front and back, $12,000 bucks.
Yeah.
Front and back to write a postcard. So you think, I mean, you know, and he put his money where his mouth is, because we say we'll pay you this much up front and we'll pay you off the next however many deals. And if we don't get the deals, we're not paying you.
Correct.
'Cause
You
he
made a
said-
good deal.
he goes,
It's a
"I'll
good
do
deal."
that. I'll do that. So yeah.
It was a
We'll
good deal.
send one to your house for $3 grand.
And I tell people, you want my marketing, just not paying your mortgage payment too yet. No, but it's here's a question really. I think Demetri, you have to ask yourself: is do you want to know one way to find 25 deals, or would you rather have 25 ways to find one deal? And I think 25
No,
ways
I'd rather
to
have,
find one
yeah,
deal is
25
much better.
ways.
Because if your source dries up, now what?
Right.
So just like these people who are depending on, like, you know, these big yellow billboard guys were depending on their mothership to give them the financing. When their financing dried up, and they didn't give them a new business plan on where to go next.
Right.
Go raise private money, and they're like, well, what's that? You know, how do you do that? So I think, you know, it's a don't keep all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. No, I
Does that
know.
make sense?
I know. Trust me, I know.
Maybe that's not a question.
I was just curious about, you know, how do you know what's a good deal?
Okay, so knowing your market is the number one thing. And how many people in here are real estate agents? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, sort of? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Of the 8 of you, this is just out of curiosity, how many of you real estate agents are also realtors? Okay. Anybody that's a real estate agent but not a realtor? Yeah, I didn't realize that they had this whole realtor business. They were
Explain
they
that.
would extort you for money just to have the name realtor.
Association.
We just but anyway, that was curiosity. Did you know that you can be a real estate agent without paying all those fees? The way that you find out what's a good deal, for me, is, you know, through knowing the market and looking on the multiple listing service. So if you're a real estate agent, you have access to multiple listing service. If you don't have access to it, you can